Hey everyone, it's Mary from SVG Cuts. I'm here today with some brand new projects. I've got 5 projects for fall, and I think you're going to love making them and displaying them at home through Thanksgiving or whatever it is that you celebrate, maybe other parts of the world outside the US. So the first project that I have here is a pumpkin sign, and it looks like it's more than just paper, and of course the handle is not paper, but the rest of it is, and I'm really happy with the dimensional letters that are on it, and I think it's worth the extra time that it takes to put them together. It looks really cute, and I also made it in like a salmon pink, coral pink kind of color, which I might put in my daughter's room for some fall decor with maybe a little white pumpkin or something. Kind of coordinates with her color scheme in her bedroom. So I can't wait to see how you make yours, if you give it a different look and all that, and have fun displaying it, not just this year, but in years to come. So I also have this pumpkin, which just sits right on top of this candle, and the whole, you could also put like an LED candle inside, and there's a little space for the cord there. So that just fits right over the cord, and it's the same candle lamp that I used for some other projects, like our rustic lantern project. So it's a little bit shorter than the traditionally taller candle, electric candle, and you can find that on Amazon. There's a link on our site where these projects are on svgcuts.com. I will also put a link below on YouTube. So same deal, slightly different style of candle, but same deal. It looks cool in orange, and the really neat part about these pumpkins is that the tabs that you use to glue the parts together are decoratively shaped, so when the light shines through, you can see the tabs, and it's like part of the design. So that's similar to our heirloom Christmas tree project, which also has decoratively shaped tabs, and looks cool when you can see the tabs shining through. So this also looks cool without a candle inside, I think. Nice decor. You could put it with some other pumpkins and have some instant festiveness in your house, office, bedroom, kitchen, wherever you want to put a little festive fallness, you can do that. So another cool thing about this is that it's actually 5-sided. It might look kind of complex, but the sides, there's just 5 sides, and you glue them together. So it took me a while to get that perfected, and you can see here in this video in just a minute exactly how that works. So we also have this really cute little simple little cute fox bag, and it's the same proportions as the Candy Gang SVG kit. There's 5 little Halloween bags that are kind of similar. There's like Frankenstein, jack-o'-lantern, candy corn, same kind of style, but this one is for fall. There's also one for Christmas that's called the Santa bag. It looks very similar. So it's nice and straightforward and easy to make, and you could have fun giving it to someone with a little cookie inside or whatever, like maybe your neighbor, delivery driver, someone in your family, what have you. Festive, simple, cute. Gotta love all the above. So we also have 2 new box cards. There's this Pumpkins Galore box card, which is super dimensional and super festive. If you give this to someone, they're definitely going to display it and enjoy it for not just this year, but beyond. I would keep this forever with my decor if someone made this for me. So it's really cool because it goes inside its envelope and it pops out to look super dimensional. So there's another box card, same concept, but it's a sunflower design and pretty sunflowers. So this could be for summer also. I have locally, there's a big sunflower field that I did not get a chance to go to this year. Hopefully next year I can go. It's in the Starved Rock area in Illinois. So I really want to do that next year. I missed my chance this year, but it's kind of like a July through Labor Day thing. So I love sunflowers because not only are they trending right now, which you gotta love, I feel like it's kind of a throwback a little bit to the 90s. Maybe there was a 90s sunflower trend too. I don't know if I'm making that up, but when I went to Michael's, I saw lots of sunflower stuff, and in some stores that I like online, I've noticed some sunflowers lately. So they can be fun for summer and into fall. So hopefully you enjoy making that also. So that's it, my 5 new projects. Super exciting. It's been a while since I've had some brand new projects. I can't wait to show you how they go together, and I really can't wait to see how yours look when you make yours. First, for our cute fox bag, You can see all the pieces in your PDF menu document that comes with your download, which you can, as always, you can either print it out like I have here, and then I hole punched it and I put it in my binder full of others, or you can look at it on your computer or on your tablet if you are handy at putting PDFs on your tablet, which I'm not really that familiar with, but it could be done. So you can see all the pieces here, just like all of our projects. We've got the bag, the head here, which has 2 X's to show you where the eyes are recommended to go on it. Then the head and the body, the chest, the ears, and the eyes and the nose. So I have all those pieces here, as well as my cute little finished bag. And this guy is similar to our Santa bag, as well as our Candy Gang Halloween bags. So it's proportioned similarly, and it's also nice and straightforward and easy. So you can either glue this piece right onto the white piece, or if you want to use some dimensional dots like Zots or sticky foam circles, you can just glue the sides down like I've done here, and then put an adhesive dot in the middle to kind of raise it up and give it some dimension. Totally up to you. So as always, I'm using this Scotch glue. It's called tacky glue. It's also called quick dry adhesive. Sometimes it comes in a red bottle, but I think those are getting phased out. So this just happens to be my personal favorite glue. I haven't really tried that many other kinds of glue because I just like this one. It's nice because it dries clear, and the nozzle is pretty precision, which is nice. And it's easy to find. So I'm just going to glue this top layer right onto the head. I did take a reddish brown ink pad. This is optional, but I rubbed an ink pad around the edge of some of this. It's a little darker on this one, you can see. I just think that adds a nice touch. Unfortunately, the ink that I like to use for that has been discontinued, so I'm trying to find a replacement that I like just as well. I'll keep you posted on that if you are a fan of edge inking like I am. So I will also glue this little chest part right in the bottom center here. And then these little ear tips can go right onto the ears. On both sides. I don't know if you guys can hear that in this video. That's my baby and one of her grandmas downstairs. We got lots of helpful grandmas in our lives, so mommy can get back to crafting, and daddy. So you might not want to use your finger as a tool, but it's very convenient. Kind of like a baby with a thumb, it's just right there. So I think that's a cute touch, having some glitter right there. This is Stickles Cinnamon. I will also glue the nose. Next, I'm going to glue the eyes on. And if you look very closely, you can see that your machine has cut some little X's. If you want to use that to position your eyes, you can. Then if you'd like to add a little white dot to the eyes, I think that's a nice touch. Totally optional, but kind of makes it look like they're shiny, like there's a little glare. More lifelike, I think. So there's our cute little fox head and body. Now you can take your bag and fold it along all of these score lines. I've also rubbed a silver ink pad around the edges of this, and oh no, I think someone's tired. And as a matter of fact, my mom is the one who rubbed the ink pad on this for me. She was here helping me last week get prepped for this video, which was a lot of fun to do with her. She's been helping me with baby also, as well as my mother-in-law. So again, the silver ink pad that I rubbed on the edges of this, that my mom rubbed on the edges of this, is unfortunately discontinued, which was a bummer because I love their ink pads. It's by Colorbox, Cat's Eye ink pads by Colorbox. I love, but apparently they are shut down. I went to reorder some more and they're all shut down. So I ordered like one of every other kind of ink out there so I can try to find a replacement for my purposes. So next we're just gonna glue this guy right onto the front. I'm gonna start with his body and center it. Maybe slightly off center. And then you can glue this down, or you can use some dimensional adhesive, or you could even use an action wobble to make it wobbly. That's an adhesive spring. They come in different sizes and they have them on Amazon. So I'm going to tilt his head about that much. You can do it however you'd like. So as far as dimensional adhesive goes, this is probably my favorite, but there are all kinds of other dimensional adhesives. These are called Zots by Thermoweb. They're 3D Zots, and they are very sticky, but they are dimensional. So I'm going to put his head just like this. Oh, here, maybe I'm better off doing this. And just like that. So next you can use whatever you want for the handle. I thought that this khaki colored chenille stem, aka pipe cleaner, would be perfect. So there you go, super cute. Just the right size for some little treats or a cookie. Anything little, just really cute, brighten someone's day, and will probably be displayed and enjoyed. Next, for the Filigree pumpkin lantern, you can see the pieces laid out here in your PDF, as well as some information about the supplies. So the stem is one big part with 5 panels, and then the sides of the pumpkin, there's 5 sides, and they're almost all identical except for one has this different bottom here, but you can see where the bottom is on each of them because it's a large plain tab. So when you're trying to tell what's what, these 4 are all the same. You can see this is the bottom here, but different bottom on one. Then you've got 2 identical bottom pieces. So I've got all my pieces here, and I went ahead and folded everything on this main pumpkin part. So everywhere where you see a score line, you can go ahead and fold it, and then take the bottom parts and fold those over. And then we'll put the stem together in a little bit. These panels go on the stem at the end, and I'm going to emboss them to have some texture. Then we've got our 2 bottom pieces, and then 5 pieces like this, which I've gone ahead and folded. Again, one of them has the different bottom, but they all get folded the same way. So everywhere that you see a score line, you can go ahead and fold your project, except for up here at the very top, this one gets folded backwards. So again, you can see that this is the bottom because of this large tab here. And then if you want to bend some of these leaves backwards, you can. That's optional. So go ahead and fold all of your sides, all 5 sides, just like this, and bend some of these backwards if you would like. So here's my final side, my 5th side for my 5-sided pumpkin. And I did some pre-folding, obviously, so mine is already folded quite a bit quicker than yours will be. But just take your time and fold along all of those fold lines, even in places like this where the fold line is broken, still just fold that right over. Next, we can start to glue these 5 sides together, side to side. And it does not really matter whether you glue the tab on the top or onto the bottom. You can do whatever feels easier to you. I'm just going to do what feels easiest to me. You can do it the same way, or if you want to change it up, you can also do that. So for example, I'm going to start by gluing this tab underneath this piece here. If you want to glue it on top, you can. Totally up to you. Then I'm going to work my way down this seam, gluing these 2 pieces together. And then I'm just going to repeat that all the way around my whole project. So that was my first tab glued down. Here's the next one. So whether it's easier for you to do it in the air like this, or if you want to put it down on your work surface, you can do that. Whoops. So I've got this seam, this seam. I'm going to do this one next. And then this one. So the reason that these tabs are shaped the way that they are is so that they look decorative when there's a light shining through. If they were just plain straight lines, I feel like it would look a little odd when the light shines through. That's kind of like our heirloom Christmas tree project. Its tabs are similar where they're shaped decoratively, so it looks nice when the light is shining through. I forgot to fold this one. Okay, so just to reorient myself here, this is the bottom. I'm working my way down. I just folded that, so I'll put some glue on this tab. And this one. Next, I will glue this tab down. And this one. And then you can see these two bottom tabs here. When the whole thing has all 5 sides glued together, these two pieces will go on the bottom to finish it off, in case you were wondering. So there's the 2 sides put together. I think this is starting to look really cool in the ivory paper, because before I did it in orange, as I'm sure you have seen here in the beginning of this video. So next, I'm just going to keep putting the sides together. So again, here's the top of my project. Here's the bottom. I'm going to glue this next piece. Here's the bottom of it. There's the top. So I'll do the same thing. And once again, these tabs can go on either side. For my original pumpkin, I glued this tab on the top part here, but for this one, I decided to glue it underneath, and when the light shines through it, you're going to be seeing that tab. So once again, I'm just working my way down the seam, gluing one tab at a time, exactly like I did just a moment ago. And I will do the same for the other pieces. Okay, so there's 3 out of 5 sides together. So now I'll take another piece here. And again, here's the bottom, here's the top. So I will anchor this in place here. And once again, work my way down the seam, gluing one tab at a time. Okay, there's the bottom. It's got 4 sides, 4 out of 5 sides. There's the top, 4 out of 5 sides. Here's the final side. Here's the top. Here is, oh no, there's the top. Here's the bottom. So let's put this in place. Once again, same technique, same steps, starting with the top here. Anchoring that into place and working my way down the seam one tab at a time. Okay, so there's the 5th side glued into place. Now we just have to close up this seam here, and then we will have our pumpkin. And I cannot wait to see how this one looks with the light shining through it, because the paper is even more transparent than the orange. And this one looks really cool lit up. Let's get a little sneak peek here with our candle. Oopsies. Sneak peek. Oh boy. That's very cool. So like I said, next we'll just be closing up the seam the same way we did before with the tabs, one at a time. And just take your time and be gentle. And if you have to pull it off and redo it, that's no big deal. So I'm going to hold this for a little extra time, make sure it's really taken hold so it doesn't pull apart. I probably could have lined that up a little better, but it is what it is. Yay. So next, I'm going to fold these out of the way so I can really get my arm in there and put the stem in place once I'm ready to add my stem, which is right here. These flat pieces will go on at the end, but this is kind of a similar concept to what we just did. I'm just going to glue one tab at a time into place here, like so. until I have my whole stem formed. The final seam will be the most challenging, but that's okie dokie. So let's just put glue on one line of tabs and glue this together one at a time. The only thing about this glue is that it does dry clear, but it's pretty shiny, so if you have especially dark paper, you will see it. So I'll just kind of scrape it off before it dries if I have it oozing out the side of a seam. No biggie. And just like that. The more you work with it, the better a judge you are of exactly how much glue to put on before you start to assemble it, so that it's just the right amount, not too much, not too little. Somewhere close to that is going to be just perfect. So I'm going to glue these two first tabs down, and then since this is getting a little more difficult to work with, I'm going to go ahead and get those two glued down. And then I'm going to go ahead and put glue on the remaining 4 tabs here. And anchor this bottom into place on both sides and glue the rest of those down. There we go. Next, you can glue these into place. You can kind of see where they go. This short one here goes right here. This other short one will be going here. Then this one, oops, I had that flipped over. So this longest, straightest one goes on this side. But before I glue those on, I'm going to emboss them to add some texture to make it look more realistic. So there's a lot of different embossing machines out there. All of their folders, from what I understand, are interchangeable. My embossing machine happens to be the SVG Big Shot, and it's got this whole system. If you've got a machine, then you know how to use it. And for this one, I'm going to put my embossing folder inside with my paper inside. This one happens to be the Sizzix Tim Holtz Alterations wood grain folder. Thought it looked pretty pumpkin stemmy. And in no particular arrangement, I will crank it through. So there's a crank over here. And when it's all said and done, you have some pretty cool texture on your shapes. For certain applications, that looks awesome. And there's all kinds of different patterns to get folders of. Somebody on YouTube just asked me about using the Cricut debosser tool with their Cricut cutting machine, which would either be the Explore or Maker. I am not familiar with that at all. So if you have any input on adding this kind of texture with your Cricut, I think it has to be with the Maker probably, you will have to let me know, because I have no clue. And if you like embossing, you'll have to let me know about that too. And sometimes I forget about the details like that, but when you add them, they sure do look extra special if you have the time and the desire. So there we go. That makes it look really cool and very lifelike, very stemmy. And I don't think it necessarily has to be this exact same embossing folder to give it the same effect. I think you could pretty much add any kind of patterned texture like this, and it's going to make it look very realistic. Does not need to be this one. Just the fact that it has some texture is what's going to make it look really cool. So now, take a look at your pumpkin, and this is going to be where the cord goes through for your candle. So I'm going to say that's the back. So if you want to put that facing away from you, and then decide which way you want your stem to be going. I would like mine to be going like this. So I'm going to put it through in that same orientation. And make it all the way up to the top there, nice and snug. And then I'm going to bend each of these back and put a dot of glue on them and glue them. I suppose might be easier to put the glue on first if you want. Easier is usually good. So now I'm opening that up from the inside, kind of like a brad, and pressing each of those up to the top. If you want to kind of pop out the top of yours, Might make it easier to work with, and then you can pop it back down. So I'm pressing from both sides to make contact there, get it glued down, and then pop it back down into place, just like that. So next, I'm going to glue the bottoms onto the bottom, and they are identical. So grab one of them and let's put it inside your pumpkin. So I'm going to glue one on the inside, one on the outside. You could probably get away with gluing them both on the outside. So make sure that this part's lined up with that part. Oops, that's the wrong side. Oh no, that's the right side. Okay, I'm losing my mind. So next I'll glue this last piece right onto the bottom. There we go. So let's turn this on again. Sorry for the shaking camera. And line this back part up. You know, I kind of rushed on the bottom here a little bit. It could be a little better. But the effect is the same. Loving it. Mucho. Mucho, mucho. Very cool. Yay. Then to finish off your project, if you would like to do what I did, I took some brown raffia and just randomly wrapped it and tied it kind of messy up there at the top to kind of give the appearance of some dry vines. Next, for the pumpkin's arrow sign, I have my pieces here. Here's this big main piece, as well as this panel here, and this panel has an accompanying tiny triangle that goes right here. So I'll just make sure to save those, as well as these two small D-shaped pieces that are going to be part of each P. So I'm going to put this on the side for just a moment. Next, I have the three large pumpkin pieces that make up the decorative pumpkin on the bottom. We'll also put that aside, as well as a green leaf, a tan leaf, a stem, and a pumpkin flower. Then I've got the top and bottom layers of my 5 cents. And in my case right now, those are the same color, although for my first project, they were different colors. So yours will most likely be different colors, but we'll also put those aside. And then I've got some reinforcing shapes for the top of my sign. There's 3 like this. And then I've got the sides of my arrow. I'll put those aside. I've got 3 large arrow pieces. This one and this one make up the back side of my project, and this one we're going to work with first. Then I also have all of my dimensional letter shapes here. So first let's take a look at our letter shapes, which I went ahead and folded. Everywhere that there is a score line, I went ahead and folded each of these over, just nice and plain folded. So your machine will have cut a letter into the bottom, which will help you determine which letters are which. Some of them are pretty obvious, like the S is made up of 2 shapes. So we'll put that here. Then this shape is a U. I did not finish folding this one. So that's our U. There are 2 P's. And the P's are almost the same, and they are made up of 3 pieces. So there's the U. Here's 1 P and the second P. The third shape of the P and the second shape of the P are identical. These 2 are slightly different. One has a square, one has a circle. This will help you identify that. This one has a square here, that has a circle. So the square P is the second P. This is the circle. So here's the square P, circle P, U. Now we can find the M. This is the M. P-U-M-P. Now K. If you look closely, you can see a little K. And here, there's the K. Here's the I. Here's the N. And there's the S. So for each score line on all the letters, I went ahead and folded it over, which is called a mountain fold. So I have this diagram in your PDF that comes with your download, and it shows how each letter is folded. A valley fold is when you fold something the opposite way in the shape of a V. So for example, let's start with the P here. So for example, everywhere that it's a red line, it's already folded that way right now, a mountain fold. Where there's a blue line, I'm going to fold it the opposite way. So like this. So you can refer to that if you'd like, or you can follow along with me, or both. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to prep these pieces by folding them this way. Then this piece is shown right here. So that's got a valley fold on the inside. Here's my best helper. Hi, Winnie. Oh, thank you very much. It's super helpful right now. Oh, no, no, no. No. So I'm going to go ahead and fold the pieces the way that it's shown here, and then I'm going to put it together. So first I'm going to take this shape and put it just like this. So I'm going to put glue on this tab here and glue that right there. Okay, alrighty. Don't need the cat right now. Oh, what am I saying? I always need the cat. Okay, I always need the cat. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue this, just like that. I'm sorry, Winnie. Not right now, baby. So next, if you can just get a little glue on most of these, fold them over. That forms the inside of the pea, and I put way too much glue in there. And you can go ahead and, while we're at it, put a dot on this small D shape. Put it right inside. Then we can glue these into place. Next I'll put a dot of glue on each of these tabs. And glue that inside the other shape. Well, this one's a little rustic. I did a much better job on this first P here. What are you gonna do? You know? It's handmade. Okay, so that's gonna be going there. I'll go ahead and put that in place. Just like this. I'm going to go ahead and do the same for the other P. All right, so there's the second P. So I've still got my letters laid out here, U, M, K, I, N, S. And if you're curious which letter is which, it does have the letter cut out of the bottom right here. So you do not need to darken this in like I am with a pen or whatever, unless you really want to. But I'm just showing you here so you can really see in this video where these are labeled. So, and then that's the S, that's pretty obvious, and that's the U, which is also pretty obvious. So the letters are going to line up right here too. So your machine will have cut out letters here, even though it's obvious where those letters are. It's obvious that that's, you know, that it is what it is. However, the actual tab is going to line up right here. So for example, this is going to line up on the back side right here, and this is going to line up right here. So that hopefully that just makes it even more clear where everything goes. It's not even really necessary to know that per se, but hopefully it's helpful. So to continue putting these together, you can see the U looks like that, and then all these outer tabs are going to get folded the opposite direction. So you can also, you can refer to this if that's helpful, to fold your U just like this here. Or if you're more inclined to have it make sense to you this way, you can kind of see where it's going and then fold the outer tabs towards you, which would be a valley fold. I hear Grandma playing with baby. My husband's mom is entertaining baby Grace right now. She thinks both her grandmas are super cool. She's a lucky girl. And Mommy and Daddy get to get some work done. So I will glue this center seam together. Just like this. So as you can see, I put a dot of glue on each tab, and I'll just work my way down this seam, gluing the two segments together. Looks like I didn't take my time enough here. It's coming apart, but you get the idea. So now that's going to go right through that space for the U. And this circle at the top also lines up with the circle right there, just to make it extra clear what goes where. And actually the circle's not even perfectly aligned, but my letter still looks nice, so that's fine with me. Now for our M. Somebody's having fun. Okay, so I have all of my score lines folded, mountain fold. So you can kind of shape your letter and glue it together. You can glue parts of it together and then we can fold the opposite sides. Okay. If you want to use your diagram to fold it, you can. So any line that's blue, you want to fold the opposite way. But I'm going to do a little gluing and a little folding kind of interchangeably. So this is what our M is going to look like. So what you can do, if it's a little easier for you, is glue some of the tabs together so that it starts to look like the M, and then the whole outer edge gets folded as like a valley fold. was a little challenging. For a second there. This doesn't even really need to get glued, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. So all the tabs going around the letter are folded basically so that they will go flat, which is a valley fold in our situation, and this is going to get pushed right through the spot for the M. But instead of trying to do it all at once, I'm going to do it a couple tabs at a time. My U is coming off. Gosh darn it. So, in case you're curious, the letter is supposed to be kind of wacky. Like, it's not perfectly, these sides aren't the same. It's supposed to be a little goofy, like kind of look a little hand carved, I guess you could say. So I made all of these a little bit like off kilter. So the end's a little bit off kilter. All the shapes, like these two triangles at the top are not the same. So it's supposed to look like maybe it was carved by hand. So in case you're wondering if you goofed up, you did not. Oh my gosh, it is so windy here in Chicagoland today. It's the last day of September, and I'm glad the leaves are still pretty green because I'd be sad if they all blew off right now. But it is crazy windy. So some of these tabs overlap, which is not something I usually don't have my tabs overlapping. Not that it matters, but some of them do. So as you can see, I am just carefully bending them back and gluing them down. So next for our letter K, I'm going to go ahead and fold it, these two pieces, the way that they are shown in this. So all these folds are already mountain folds, which are indicated by the red lines. I'm just going to change the ones that are blue to be valley folds. Then I'll do the same with the other part of the K. So I'm just looking at the diagram and working my way around, folding any of the blue lines the opposite way. So that's the top of the K. Here, I'm going to go ahead and glue that. Like this. And that piece there. Then this will go just like that. So now I'm just gluing down these tabs on the other side, anchoring some of the corner-ish area ones first. So there we go, there's our K. There you have it. Also, this one I may have done a neater job on the first one here. And then the I. Wow, that's a nice, refreshing, simple letter here. I'll just go ahead and glue the main part of the letter together. And then bend its outer tabs backwards, or valley fold. Next, for our N, you can kind of see how it goes together already, like this. So you can kind of put your letter together and see which ones need to get bent. Valley fold and then bend the outer ones backwards, or you can get specific and look right at your diagram to see how that gets folded also. Kind of needs to get squished together right through here. So I'm going to start by anchoring these 3 pieces. Alright, so there's our N. Again, not quite as meticulously assembled as my first one, but still cool. The dimension is really neat. It's a little bit of a pain to put together, but that is why it is so cool with all the dimension, I think. Okay, so the S. The circle is up here at the top, and the S is right here at the bottom. Not necessary to darken it in, but just to be clear where it is. So where they meet in the middle, these are all going to stay mountain folds, here and here. Then the outside shapes, the outside tabs, which are quite tiny here, can get folded backwards. I know it's kind of crazy how small they are, but just bear with me and it'll be super cool. So here's this piece with the circle at the top. I'm going to fold these backwards. First, I'm going to anchor this piece here. And I'm going to interlock these pieces just like this. And then put some glue on these tabs. Then I'm going to put glue on this round tab and slide it underneath this part here. So there's a triangle here where this letter ends. And I accidentally folded it right here. It's not supposed to be folded there, but it does end in a triangle. This should just be smooth. So I kind of goofed up there. Then I'm going to manage to dab some glue on these tabs to finish up the inside. the inside seam. And just keep bearing with me here. I know this is a little crazy, but it's gonna work out just fine. I majorly have glue all over my fingers, which makes it more challenging. So there we go. You want to make sure the inside seam is nice and dry, and then you can squish it into place here. Not sure if that's too much to try at once, but we'll find out. So if you're able to anchor some of these tabs into place to get the letter in position, you can always add glue underneath the other remaining tabs. So this is a little challenging, but just like I said, just bear with me here. And it will work, as evidenced by my original S. Just have patience and you will get it. So this comes in handy, having this circle cutout tab. Let's align that with the circle here so that we know we're in position. So I'm going to carefully bend this back without creasing it and just dab some glue in there. So if you've got excess glue, like I do right now, and you're not able to scrape it off to your satisfaction, you can always grab a straight pin and do a little scraping while it's still drying. You want to be a little meticulous. So that S was obviously a little challenging, and it's not quite as well done as my original one, but you know what? Once we put this panel on, first this one. So the outside border is even, and the letter borders are even, but that really makes it look cool, even though I didn't do the best job on my letters. Also, there's a little brown, there's one little brown piece that I hopefully didn't lose that goes inside that S. This one has an even border around its edge, but the letter border is a little off kilter on purpose, also to look rustic and handmade. So that's really cool. I'm liking it. So I seem to have lost my little small piece that goes right inside this S right here. It looks like that. Somewhere in the hullabaloo of putting this together, I lost that part. So maybe I'll go in with a brown marker and darken it in. So while this is still flat, I'm going to go ahead and put this part on. So that is annoying with this piece missing. I am not in the mood to recut it or try to find it, so let's hope this works. Next, I'll glue this on with an even border around its edge. I just realized I forgot my little small triangle that goes on this right here. Get in there now, little triangle. Next, I'm going to take these side pieces here, and you don't need to do this, but just for this video, I'm going to darken these numbers in that your machine has cut so that you can see them better. And I'll just glue them together side to side. And as long as I'm thinking about it and I've got this piece here, I'm going to lay that flat and glue all three of these on top of it with those holes lined up for reinforcement. So these won't be seen, they're going to be on the inside of your project, but it'll make the top nice and strong so that you can hang it with a ribbon or twine or whatever it is that you want to use. So here are our sides. Make sure that the holes are on the top here. And then we're going to glue the front right on. So I'm going to start by anchoring the end of this shape here. And then we'll glue down the other tabs to glue the front right on. Next I'm going to put the back on, which is made up of 2 parts. This one I'm going to glue on the inside of these tabs. So first I'll bend these out of the way, then I'm going to glue it inside. Now I'm going to put glue all over this back part and put the back on. No, stop. Now you can go ahead and put your leaves and your pumpkin together. So this gets glued behind here, just like that. Then this part gets glued right here. You can use some dimensional foam adhesive circles or some 3D Zots by Thermoweb to make them more dimensional if you want. And then that goes right here, just like this. This goes here, and you can put your double layered 5 cents right here, as well as this guy, just like I've done with my first one. I used a action wobble, which is an adhesive spring, to make this more fun. Next, for the Pumpkins Galore box card, I have all the pieces laid out here. Quite a few leaves and pumpkin parts, and then the large parts of the card and the label that goes on the back. So there's green leaves and brown leaves. There's 2 green pumpkins, some orange pumpkins, dark orange pumpkins, some flowers, and that's it. Did I cover all that? You can see what it is anyways. So here is the front flap of the card. Here's insert number 1, insert number 2, insert number 3, and the back of the card. So if you look at the PDF menu that comes with your download, you can see all of those laid out here and what goes where. If you want to change it up, you can of course do that, but what I'm going to do now is put all these pumpkins and leaves where they go on the front flap, insert 1, insert 2, insert 3, and the inside of the back. So they pretty much go from large to tiny, and you can just kind of follow along with me or look at this in your download, whatever it is you'd like to do. So I'm going to be looking at this over here on the side while I put these pumpkins where they go. So this extra large orange one, it's pretty easy to identify. That's going to go on this front flap right here, as well as the largest green leaf and the largest brown leaf. Then we've also got the largest, well, these are pretty interchangeable, these 2 largest blossoms. One goes here and one goes on insert 1. So I did go ahead and darken in these numbers with a black marker so that you can see them easily in this video. You don't have to do that, but just so you know, your machine will have cut a number into those so they're easy to identify. Next, this largest bundle of vines that's shaped like this is going to go on insert number 1. Then the next largest one goes on the front flap. Next, the large green pumpkin is going to go on insert number 1. Since we're talking about green pumpkins, this little tiny green one goes on the inside of the back. So do these little itty bitty ivory colored pumpkins and this small orange one, as well as the smallest blossom. This other blossom goes on insert number 3, and again I'm just referring to these diagrams to see where all of those go. Next, this bundle of vines goes on insert number 3. And this larger dark orange pumpkin goes on insert number 2 right here. And this guy goes here. And this one gets this pumpkin. This one's a little different. You can see that its 2 lines are kind of close to the center. These 2 pumpkins have their lines closer to the edge, and they coordinate with these little guys here. So this one goes on number 2 right there. Then these 2 pumpkins go on number 3 with their dimensional front part, just like that. Then we have these two itty bitty orange ones that go on the back up here. These small leaves go on that too. Then this and this go on insert number 2. This small one goes on this, as well as this small one. Now we've got these left. These two bare leaves are going to go on the flaps of your card. So let's put that up here with the label. As well as these two plain leaves. They don't have any vines. These two plain brown ones. And we've got a tiny brown one. Goes there. So now we just need to place these guys. And you could really do whatever you would like. But this largest one is going to go right here. This guy goes on number 2. This guy goes on insert number 3, and this one on number 2. So a lot of those are pretty interchangeable except for this, these, and these. So if you want to change it up, you can definitely feel free to do that. So I'm going to set this aside, the front flap aside, and I'm going to assemble inserts 1, 2, and 3 the way that they are shown in the PDF. So again, just like this, 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to put those together just like that right here, 1, 2, and 3. So if you'd like to pop this off a little bit and make it look dimensional, you can use a dimensional adhesive like a foam circle, or these 3D dots by Thermal Web that are kind of my favorite dimensional adhesive because they're clear and they're really sticky. So I like to get them from Michael's, Hobby Lobby, Amazon. Lately I've just been getting them from Amazon. But usually wherever they have craft supplies, you can find them. Or Michael's has an in-house brand, Recollections, of foam circles that are adhesive. But I think that adds a nice touch and makes it look more realistic. So that's fun. And then I think I will use these on this vine bundle also, because usually the more dimension the better, I think, but it's optional. So you can put it however you think it looks nice. I'm just going to pop it on there like that, and one just like that. Oops. So I think the other one that I put over here technically lines up here better. If you don't care, you could just put that one there. I don't think it matters, but I will put this one on here. So there's insert number 1. Put together insert number 2. So I will put an adhesive dimensional thingy, in my case it's a Zot by Thermal Web, on the back of these pumpkins. Oops, wrong side. This is actually upside down, but I don't think it really matters. Then for these leaves, if you want to bend those a little bit, it looks cute, and glue them right there. So there we go, insert number 2, super cute. And now insert number 3. I'm gonna glue the fronts onto these pumpkins. And then use a Zot right there. So there's insert number 3. Next, I will assemble the back the way that it shows in the PDF or something like that. So these little guys, if you want, you can bend these in half. That one and this one. And you can glue them like that. So again, I will just be assembling this more or less the way it's shown right here. glue these down. So here's my back side all glued on. These flaps can get bent the opposite way, like this and like this. Next, we can set these 4 leaves aside. Those are going to go on these 4 flaps here. And then we might as well go ahead and stamp on this. So I've got my super cute stamps here that coordinate with the paper, the patterned paper that I used from Simple Stories. So I'm going to use this Hello Fall stamp. This stamp block, I don't think I've ever washed it or cleaned it off. I don't know about you, but it's really never occurred to me. But now that I'm filming it, I'm realizing how grungy it is. True confessions of stamping. So I just realized that I don't have my panels here, the side, the back, and this one. So I cut them out of this pretty blue patterned paper, and this is equal on all 4 sides, so there's no wrong way to put this. I will go ahead and glue this on. As well as this. Then I will glue the side panels on. Next, I'm going to take insert number 3 and glue that on the inside. So the top part of this, right here, this corner, we want that to line up with this corner here. And I want the back of the tab to be flush with the back of the box. So it's just like that. So just like this. The back of the tab is flush with the back of the box, and the top meets up right there. Next, I'll do the same thing on the other side. So I've got glue on this tab here, and I want the back of the tab flush with the back of the box, and the top of it meeting up right here. So before it dries completely, you can fold it back and forth to make sure it's going to lay flat. Mine's a little bit less than perfect, so it's actually, mine's a little off actually, but carry on. So I'm going to do the same thing with insert number 2. So the back of the tab will be flush with the front of the one behind it. So basically, you want the insert to be going straight up and down so that your card will fold flat. And you want the top of it to meet up right here. So just like that. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So just like that. And a quick fold test. Just like that. Same thing with insert number 1. So as you can see, the tab is parallel with the piece behind it there. So perfectly straight up and down is good, and then your card will fold properly. Next, I'm going to glue these leaves on. Just like this. So our card is almost done. Now, I happen to have a dimensional adhesive dot on the back of that already. Let's glue our stem on. And glue that together just like that. So here's the front of our card. I'm going to fold this over just like that. And that's going to get glued right onto the front here. So I'm going to glue this leaf just right here on the very edge. So to do that, I previously goofed up, so just ignore my wacky paper and my glue issues here. And then this pumpkin here is going to line up with the bottom. So you could use a dimensional adhesive if you wanted to, or just glue it right on. Up to you. But just glue that right on. Then this can get glued on the front there. This leaf is going to be here. So I'm going to pop the front part off of the pumpkin even more with some dimensional adhesive. I'm using 3D Zots by Thermoweb. They're nice and sticky, and they add a nice touch when you want some extra dimension, which is usually a good thing, I think. So there we go. It looks even more lifelike. Next, I'm going to glue this right about here. So I'm just going to use a very small amount of glue. And put that right there. So again, you can do it however you want. And if it makes it easier for you to refer to your PDF, it shows the front flap right there. Next, this is going to go here, but I think it would be nice to make it dimensional. Just like that. There we go. That looks pretty awesome and festive. So next, I'll put glue on these flaps and glue the front right on. Just like that. So you can leave the front. You can leave the front the way it is if you want. For mine, I actually used a dimensional dot underneath the front flap on the original one. I just felt like it needed some help staying folded. So it's really up to you what you want to do. I think I'll do the same thing again and put one of these underneath, but it's up to you. So now for our envelope. Once your card is all assembled, if you wanted to add some little touches of glitter, I did do that on my original card. So I have some random glitter here. I don't know if this Martha Stewart Crafts glitter is still available. The Stickles definitely is, from what I understand. So this is what I used on my. So just on the brown areas, I would just put a little bit of this, and I actually just smeared it with my finger. Of course, if you want to use something else, like a Q-tip or paintbrush or whatever, I put on the white, I put some of this white glitter. So I just like the effect of the matching color glitter. I don't think I actually used green, maybe just a little bit here, because this is kind of more like bright Kelly green and this is more sagey. So I went easy on the green, but then I put some orange glitter on the orange parts, and I really just drew a line kind of around the top, kind of making it look like it was just dusted by maybe some fairies in the night or something. So I just put it around the top and I kind of smeared it around. I highlighted these edges a little bit. Whatever you want to do, whatever floats your boat. So here is our envelope, and the most round corner is the bottom here. So this is how it goes. I've already folded it like this on all 4 score lines. So to put it together, we just want to glue this bottom flap onto the 2 side flaps. Then you can insert your card and fold the top down. And now to fold your card, you could fold it this way or this way, but you just want to carefully guide these flaps either this way or that way. Carefully insert your card, close it up, and affix it with glue or a sticker or whatever you want. So if you wanted to mail this through the regular mail, I would imagine you might want to put it in a outer envelope or a bubble mailer or something. that would be up to you how you want to send it, or just deliver it in person. Next, for the sunflowers box card, I have all my pieces here, which are some leaves, and the back panel that we can stamp on. These little wood planks, which I'm going to emboss to have a wood texture. Lots of these pretty petals. Some additional little flowers. And some circle and donut shapes that I'm also going to emboss to be textured, that are our sunflower pieces, as well as these inserts here. And you don't have to draw on the end like I am, but I want you to be able to see it in this video. Your machine will have cut those numbers into the side of your pieces. So this is 1, 2, and 3. That's the card shape, which I'm going to set aside. And our insert, we just have 2 insert shapes here. Now we also have these panels, and panel 1 here also. Then we have our envelope, so I'll put this aside until the end also. Oh my goodness, I just spent 5 minutes looking for this, and it was right over there, like 1 foot over there, in plain sight. Mom brain. I think there's a word for that. Helly, my friend Helly, said there's a word for that in Dutch. I can't pronounce it or begin to try to say it, but there's a word for mom brain. Okay. So I am getting lots of sleep, but still just mom brain, I guess. Okay, so I want to give these pieces a polka dot texture to resemble a real sunflower. So I'm going to put them inside this embossing folder. This one happens to be called Ben-Day Dots. I'm not sure why it's called Ben-Day Dots. That must be something I'm not familiar with. I guess polka dots might have been already taken. Maybe Ben-Day is a famous polka artist. So I just cranked them through my embossing machine, which happens to be a Sizzix Big Shot, but there are lots of other ones. I think there's a new version of this one, and there's other brands, but from what I understand, the folders are all interchangeable. So I have quite a few, and I think that's going to make it look nice and realistic. Before I put that away, I did want to also emboss some wood grain texture. This one is from Sizzix, and it's called the Wood Grain Folder. It's a Tim Holtz design, which means it's off the charts amazing, like everything Tim Holtz does. So unique. He definitely knows his style, which is so cool. I always stop in the Tim Holtz aisle when I'm at Michael's. And I wish I knew how all those inks worked. They're probably not anything to be intimidated by, but I don't really know what to do with all the cool inks that Tim Holtz has. One of these days I will learn more about them. So there we go. Now these little planks look more like little wood, so that our box card will look like a crate kind of. So I think you could use any kind of texture to make it look cool. I think it's going to look pretty cratey, whether you use a wood grain pattern or not. So first I'm going to assemble my flowers, and then I will put together these two inserts the way that it's shown in your PDF. So your download comes with this PDF menu document, which you can print out or look at on your computer or tablet or whatever. And it shows how I did the front flap of the card. Insert number 1 here, insert number 2, and the inside of the back. So first, I'm going to take my cap off of my glue, and then I'm going to put some glue on the back of my polka dotted embossed donut shape. Try to say that a bunch of times in a row. Or should I say my Benday dot embossed donut shape. That might be harder to say. So let's glue all those together like that. Yay. Next, these are slightly different, so they go together. So each flower has these two parts. So the next thing I did to make my flowers look realistic is I took a little ink pad. I have quite a few of these that I love using, and they've now been discontinued. I'm really upset about it. I'm gonna go cry. So this is losing ink a little bit, but what I did was I took kind of more of an orangey one. I don't know if this brown is so great, but I took more of a warm orange, warm brown, and I rubbed that around all of those in the center. So during my quest to figure out why I couldn't find any more of these on Amazon, A Cherry on Top, scrapbook.com, blah blah blah, I couldn't find any more, and then I realized they were discontinued. So I decided to get like one of each of these different ink pads, and I got some of these daubers because I don't know, I've tried to rub other ink pads on, and a lot of times these are pretty like spongy and soft, and it's really easy to just rub some ink. A lot of these seem to be more like firm, so when you try to rub it on paper, it just leaves like a very distinct dark mark instead of a soft mark. So let's see. Yeah, like that's not what I wanted to do. So I got these daubers. Someone on Instagram, I'm sorry, I can't remember who right now without looking, someone said that they use these. Oh, your name's on the tip of my tongue, I'm sorry. Is that gonna work? It's just kind of goofy transferring it from one surface to another. Ooh, I should have tested that first. Oopsies. I guess. So maybe the color is a little too dark, but maybe this technique would work for my purposes. It's way too dark. But, you know, maybe that'll look cool. Create like a blend. Yeah, that is actually pretty cool. I don't think I would go quite as dark intentionally. But what we can do is pinch each of these petals in half. That's a must. Looks nice and lifelike. Like this. And then so this is the bottom here with some of these that overlap. The top doesn't have any overlapping petals. So I will do this. So anyway, on Instagram, in my stories, I did a poll, and I said, what kind of ink pads do you use for if you like edge inking like I do? Somebody suggested the Daubers. I will give you a proper shout out once I check again all the responses. You guys are super helpful. So just kind of twist this around till it looks good to you. It's actually nice if they're all glued together a little differently, all 5 of your flowers. This top layer you can even bend forward a little bit. And then you could glue this right onto the center, or you could use a dimensional adhesive, such as these 3D Zots by Thermoweb. They're extremely sticky, and they add some nice dimension. So that looks very cool, just like that. If you want, you can also rub some glitter, whatever kind of glitter you like. If you want to use glue and regular glitter, I don't have a handy tool, so I'm just going to use my finger. Kind of smear that around in the outside there. It looks extra cool. So let's go ahead and assemble all 5 flowers. I'm just going to fast forward real quick while I do it. So do all 5 of them just like this, or however you want to do it. Next, I'm going to go ahead and stamp on this bad boy here. So I'm going to use my stamp from this super cute stamp set that coordinates with the paper from Simple Stories that I used, called Cozy Days. next I'm going to assemble insert 1 and 2, or at least I'm just going to get the parts where they're supposed to go. So again, I'm going to refer to these diagrams here, and on the front it's got smooth leaf, smooth leaf, smooth leaf, and then jagged leaf, jagged leaf, jagged leaf. So let's kind of get that oriented. This piece number 2 here, I'm going to fold it like this. So this is our front flap here. So that gets 2 smooth leaves and 2 sunflowers and 1 flower like this. Let's go ahead and pinch all these petals in half gently. Fast forward. I'm going to go ahead and put these super cute little fabric adhesive dots. These are from Queen & Company. They're called dotties, and they are orange dotties. I didn't check to see if these are still available, so if you love them and they're not, I'm sorry. Queen & Company is pretty awesome though. I love their embellishments. I actually have a couple binders of their awesome adhesives. A wide range of colors and styles, like sparkly, pearlescent fabric. Okay, so this is the front flap. Those are the pieces for it. And this panel is going to go underneath all of it. And this triangle is going to go on here. So I'm going to kind of bundle these together in little groupings. Number 1 here has the last smooth leaf and 1 sunflower and 1 flower. Number 2 has 2 jagged leaves, 1 sunflower, 1 little flower, and then the inside of the back, which is this piece here. You can fold it like this. And inside, jagged and flower. So let's assemble this front flap piece. I'll glue that there. So you could probably just glue that right on. I'm kind of addicted to the dimension. This should be some kind of blog name or like a band name or something, or a t-shirt for crafters. So then this one, probably could have put this one on first. So it's more or less in the same arrangement as shown in the PDF. Could be slightly different. It's kind of tricky to get it exactly the same. This here. So there's our front flap. And insert number 1 here. It's going to go like this, this, and this. I'll glue this on first. Then I will glue this onto my flower, and it's pointing almost straight up. There's number 1. Number 2. I'm going to glue this right onto my flower. That might be spread out a little farther than I wanted it to be. Hopefully it doesn't get in the way of our design or in our envelope. We'll see. You might want this leaf not so far out. There's number 2. And then the inside of the back, next I'm going to glue the back pieces on. So these short ones go on the sides, these long ones go on the back. That's a little crooked, but you know what? It's rustic. I'm going to go with it. And then glue this stamped circle right on the back. Next, I'm going to glue this onto the back. right here. And this piece, here's number 3. Next, I will glue that piece to this piece. And you can leave these flaps loose if you want. For whatever reason, I felt like affixing them down, except for the front one. So to do that, I used another dimensional adhesive. I'm going to leave these out until we're at the end, just so I can really squeeze this right here. So next, I'm going to glue the box itself together by gluing this piece to this one. And I'm going to glue it closed. So we can glue it closed and then put the inserts in, or like with the last card, if you happen to watch the last card that I made right before this one, I put the inserts in and then I closed up the front. So I don't know if you have a preference either way. If you've made a lot of our box cards, you'll know that they go together pretty much all the same way. It's a box shape and then there's inserts. So you can go either way. You can make the box and then put the inserts in, or you can start to put the inserts in and then close it up. Totally up to you. I kind of prefer to make the box and then put the inserts in, but I don't know. That's just me. So I want to make sure that the back of the tab is flush with the back of the box, and that the top of the tab is lined up right with the edge right there. Same with the other side. So flush with the back and lined up right there. Straight up and down, nice and parallel. Before it's totally dry, do a little quick check. And the same with number 1. So we're going to make sure that the back of these tabs are flush with the back. They're flush with the piece behind it. So it's nice and centered in this open space. Straight up and down. And hitting right there. This method has a tendency to get a little messy, but it's kind of where no one's really going to see. Some dried glue inside there. So I did not quite get that right. So there we go. There's our card, and I will go ahead and put these flaps down. I just like it better like that. You can do whatever you want to do. It's your card, of course. So there we go. Very nice. That darker ink in the center of these flowers does look pretty cool. So next, for our envelope, you can see it here. The corner that has the most rounded corner is the bottom. So you can flip it over, and you just want to affix the bottom flap to the sides. So just 2 lines of glue. And there you have it. Now you can just carefully fold your card flat. So you can go this way. That's a tight squeeze. Or this way. I think it has a little more room if you go that way. And just carefully slide your card inside your envelope. And again, you probably want to send, if you're mailing this, you probably want to put it inside an outer envelope, I would imagine. And maybe a bubble mailer or some other kind of outer packaging. So there you go. So there you have it, 5 new projects for fall. I hope you have a great time making them. If you do, you'll have to share a picture with us on Facebook, Instagram, your blog, pin it on Pinterest. However you like to share, we always love to see, and so do the rest of our crafty friends. So thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time, and happy crafting! Happy crafting! Bye!